Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. That was me raging because I just died in the last video. So this is a continuation of episode 28. We are on the planet Benning. We're fighting Cerberus using the Prothean particle rifle and the Prothean squad member, Commander Jarek. So yes, this entire video is essentially one fight. I'll have at least one more death, I believe. Maybe even two. This area was very hard. This was the hardest fight I've had with Cerberus yet in the game. Some have come close, but this one is just very wide open. They can attack from anywhere. They have huge lanes of fire to attack you from, and nowhere is safe. So as I was mentioning in my previous video, it's very important to keep your party members covering you. You want some behind you for sure to cover that approach point for the enemy, and also you want possibly one in the front. Right now I have the Prothean squad member, Jarek, covering my left, and I have James covering my right, and I think I'm going to try to flank shortly. I don't know where those guys were going. I actually thought I was about to lose just because there were tons of enemies out there, and for some reason the civilians were just running straight forward into them. So I didn't know what was going on, but I wasn't going to be too concerned. Another issue with this area is just the enemies never stop coming. There's just an endless stream. They're everywhere. They are ubiquitous. They just never stop. And they have turrets, but the turrets aren't a huge issue, at least as long as you stay on high ground, because usually you can block their line of sight just with ledges and walls and whatever, so they're not a huge issue, though I didn't actually know they were there, and I could have been using them to my advantage with sabotage. So something to keep in mind. This fight is just all about positioning, all about not allowing yourself to be outflanked, so an infiltrator could probably do wonders here just with cloak. I was actually just talking, or somebody commented on one of my videos asking me how I managed to do what I do in these videos as an engineer. He was having trouble with insanity as an engineer. To which I told him that, well, beyond the fact that I do have a lot of experience playing Mass Effect, just in general on insanity, particularly Mass Effect 2, I have hundreds of hours played in Mass Effect 2. I have played every single character through the game on insanity, most multiple times. So there's that. But beyond that, I just, I use positioning to my advantage. I use corners, I watch enemies approach, I pay attention to my flanks, I look behind me if I feel like enemies might come from that area. I position party members in such a way that they cover my flanks, though I'm not great about doing that. I only do that when I really have to, when I think it'll really matter, like right now, and later on. I don't just spam powers, I use my weapons more so than my powers, though I do use a combination of both. One thing that's very important is just using metagel, like right there. I don't hesitate to use metagel. I use it very quickly when I think I'm going to die. And metagel also, when you use it, gives you a brief period of invulnerability. So if you're caught out in the open and you use metagel, it will keep you alive just from the fact that it's healing you and the brief period of invulnerability. So I very frequently use metagel. I use it whenever it's needed, and sometimes when it's not, unfortunately, but that's just part of not hesitating to use it. So now I see that there is a sentry over there. I'm going to try to sabotage that in a moment, I think. But I have fairly long cooldowns right now. I probably have maybe 6 to 8 seconds or so, but that's a decent amount of time. I'm also not using any armor to improve my recharge rate. I suppose I should mention, my armor is pretty much geared just for more weapon damage, because that, I think, suits my playstyle the most. So not survivability, not recharge. It's a bit of a mix, but mostly weapon damage and headshot damage. But yes, beyond that, I mean, I don't really consider myself a spectacular engineer. It's really just experience, and eventually it'll be prior knowledge. I mean, keeping in mind this is my first playthrough, so I don't know what's coming. When I know what's coming, things will be even better, and I'll know the strategies. The first playthrough is by far the hardest. Once you have the first playthrough under your belt, I would say difficulty drops by at least half. Pardon. So, that's something else to keep in mind. Beyond that, I just know what to expect. When I'm facing enemies, I know what they're going to do. I can predict their behaviors. I know when I need to get in, I know when I need to get out. Yeah, I don't really know beyond that what to say. I mean, I certainly don't use particular loadouts or anything. I just use whatever, so that's not a factor. I mean, one way you can certainly improve your performance is just mastering the Grawl Spike Thrower. That thing is ridiculously powerful, or just by using the Widow, probably, when you can find that, or the Black Widow when you can afford it. So yes, again, I just get outflanked. I got outflanked, and I got hit by the turret a couple of times. That was a problem.
Try to stay calm.
But here we go. I don't think I die again. I might. We shall see. I'm going to try some different positioning, moving up this way, seeing how well that works. I don't remember. I can't really give you guys a straight, go here and you'll win this area strategy. It's really just trying to outflank these guys as best as possible and not being too aggressive. At least, not being aggressive when the situation doesn't call for it. Sometimes you need to be aggressive. So yeah, to go back to just tips on playing an engineer, I mean, it's just positioning. Positioning is really important. Positioning and flanking. Outflank your enemy before they outflank you. Also, do not rely on the drone and the turret for damage. They're really not meant to do damage. The drone does better damage when he has rockets, but it's nothing that you should be relying on by any means. It's just a little bit of a supplement to your own damage. They're really meant just for crowd control and distractions. You don't play this character like you would play a pet class who just does his damage through his pet. He's certainly not like 50% of your damage. He's maybe 5%, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm leaving the Prothean dead for a little while. I want to conserve my metagel. I have no idea how long this fight actually lasts at this point. Where the enemies come from, it's crazy. This is probably the most wide-open map in the game yet, though the one in Novaria is pretty open as well. If this map isn't in the multiplayer, I guarantee you it will be in the multiplayer at some point, because it's huge. It's huge, it has multiple levels, enemies can approach from anywhere. The particle rifle seems to not be very effective against shields until it's fully charged. I think I'm gonna die. Maybe not. It's definitely wise to have a solid backup weapon for when your particle rifle does run out of juice. Not necessarily a shotgun, I'd probably say a pistol for close quarters. Or just mid-range, or maybe an assault rifle. So something that can do a lot of damage quickly, because you're already relying on the particle rifle for more sustained damage. So something that does really good burst at shorter ranges, probably. Getting irritated at this point by these stupid grunts, and then taking out my shield instantly. Another thing that you can do to help you play the engineer is just to really make great use out of your party members, by which I mean their powers. I do not. I often forget to even use their powers, much less relying on them. I only use their powers generally in panic situations where an enemy in front of me needs to die right now. Or sometimes to speed stuff up, like Atlas Max. But I do not get the best use out of my party members that I can. Part of that is just, there's not enough binds in this game. I only have 8 slots to make use of all the abilities in this game, and there are a lot more abilities in this game than in Mass Effect 2. Especially when you take in consideration that I'm playing an engineer. I have a lot of abilities as an engineer. It wouldn't be as big a deal as, say, like a soldier. But on this class, real estate on the UI, especially, you know, on keybinds, is very... it's at a premium. So... and I refuse to go into the drop-down menu every 10 seconds to use an ability for my party members. I'm not going to do that. It's boring, it's time-consuming, it makes things slow. So it's not going to happen. So I basically just have those 2 slots to work with, and the attack slots. By which I mean, they're slots that, you know, when you use your attack bind, it uses that power when you click on an enemy. But the thing is, as soon as you use a power from your binds, they switch to that power anyway, and it replaces their attack slot. So yeah, I really just have those 2 slots to work with. Just, what is it, 6 and 7? Or not 6 and 7, I forgot I rebound. 3 and 4, and that's it. I have to use everything else for my own engineer's abilities, and then of course Metagel. So kind of annoying, I wish I had more binds to work with. I love the scimitar. I don't remember the scimitar being this effective in Mass Effect 2. So we're about done. This whole fight is essentially one gigantic boss battle. Another example of rather than one hard target or a few hard targets, just a billion weaker targets that just mob you. Fun though. Definitely was fun. I wasn't really super frustrated by the end of it. It was more just a learning experience, and I needed to improve upon my strategies. But party members are really important in this fight. Not so much for damage, but just as bodies to absorb fire and to cover my flanks. Though James did a good job of covering the one door I had him watching. He really did solid damage with the Revenant. I'll have to give the Revenant another try eventually, when I can. So again, guys, let me know what weapons you want to actually see, and I'll try to accommodate your requests. I can use anything, but I'm not going to use a loadout of 4 weapons or 5 weapons and all heavy weapons at once, because then I'll never be able to cast powers. So, I mean, and that's pretty much common sense. I'm sure you guys know that. But if you guys want to see the Chakram Launcher, or the Grawl Spike Thrower, or the Particle Rifle, or Sniper Rifles, or whatever, the Hornet, you know, SMGs, whatever, I will try to use those more frequently. But if I don't hear anything, I'm just going to continue using whatever I happen to find, and then occasionally using weapons that I want to particularly use. Also, if you guys want particular party members, I guess I could also accommodate you, though. I, again, just use James because I like him, and Caden because I like him. I'm not sure if I'll be using the Prothean much more. I'll use him for at least one more mission to get more use out of Dark Channel. There's just a turret here, by the way, that I'm trying to deal with. That's all it is. I think I sabotaged it a couple times to make sure everything was dead, but whatever. So this is, I think, it. Just waiting for the shuttle to come pick us up. So, thanks guys for watching. You know, check out my channel for more stuff for the full series. Check out my playlists for the full series. I also have an informational series called Target Practice, which shows the accuracies of the weapons and their spreads and groupings. You can check that out. Alright guys, so thanks for watching, and have a good one.